Hello there everyone, this is Mark III and welcome back to another episode of Cosmoteer, where I build ships and sometimes they even work. Or something to that effect, I don't know. Welcome back to Cosmoteer. Maybe I am being a bit cautious in this game, but hey, it's how I feel. And speaking of, I get the feeling that rear power storage is actually not a good enough buffer because it gets very quickly drained by the adjacent power supply systems. Oh well. But hey, such as it goes. We're still in our second difficulty place. I forget what it's called. Elite, I think it was? No. Veteran. We're still in our first veteran zone. Just picking over some things and giving the ship a bit of a try out. And as I said, there are some flaws. Definitely. Like, yep, there we go. That's tapped out again. But I think the ship's layout could do with being tweaking. And some of the comments you guys gave me this time around also imply the same kind of thing. Actually, those electrodes are the worst bit, so let's do that. Again, I regret having the railgun slightly off-center. But that one's okay. Hey, I'll take it. But yep, that's fine. Okay, so I'm also watching this because there was another comment about it regarding the railguns, and yeah, I do see there seems to be a rail supply issue going on in terms of ammo. Show. Let's go ahead and do something about that, because that was definitely one of the comments. Just very quickly, repair it all. And crew. 56 out of 60, I can actually get a couple more in. But I want to get my behaviours and some new. Totally new, the guys in blue. They're going to be the gunnery crew. Totally about that, yes. And I'm actually going to specialise these guys further, which I should have probably done previously, which is they don't supply batteries or operate any of the... Wait, no. This is what I want to be doing. Supply bullets to the railgun system. And I guess I'll also tell them to deal with the power too. So that way we've got a crew that will be at least specialised on it. And I think this role editing thing could probably do with a button to saying set everything to 0. Why are they defaulted on... Oh wait, no, those are in a previous tab, never mind. No. Actually, I'll allow that, because FTL drive is usually like an all-hands-on-deck thing, so... Don't do any of that, please. Don't supply batteries, don't operate these. The gunnery crew deals with the railgun system. And I'm going to tell this room here to supply gunnery crew. So I've got 6 guys that will only feed the railgun system. And that should help, I think. At least a little. Okay, right. Comment time. You know, the best part of the video. Comment time. I involve with the people. I don't know. Right. Okay, first up we've got a comment from Damador. What the hell is that? Wandering pylon? That is a thing. I think I'm going to shoot at the control room if I'm honest. Right. I think we could also do with a bit more... Oh, he's got missiles. I could maybe do with a bit more in terms of... Nope, we've actually got a good amount. Anyway, right. Dama said he would have called this God's Immaculate Rod rather than the Grand Shaft. Fair enough. I did kind of pick the name at random, so that's absolutely fine. Oh, yeah, that's doing the job. Go for the blast power. There we go. Direct hit. And our anti-missile defences did okay. A tiny bit of armour damage, but other than that, we're fine. We are just seem to be okay for this difficult level. Right. So yes, Dama didn't like the name I picked too much, it seems, but oh well. Yes. And next up is comments from Lollard. Says he didn't say anything about armor, but okay. Actually, Lollard, you did. You did mention armoring the aperture. But I think we got our communications crossed ever so slightly. Oh wait, no, it's professional then veteran. Whoops. Our communications got crossed a little bit because, honestly, sometimes I have a bit of trouble understanding you. And I'm not the only one. But you did mention about armor. But I also saw the laser, and basically it was like a massive laser array focused into a single crystal line. So super-powered ion laser beam is what he showed me. Though he says the ship is a fail because after 5 lasers focused in one crystal, it does not do much. It does not much anymore. 5 lasers in a crystal is effective. Like two lasers in one, so laser is not so strong later on. Yeah, that was actually me reading word for word. I think what Lollard is trying to say there is... Actually, this does explain a few things, because I was exposed to this month's professional league, and I'll mention later, but it explains why some of the laser types, I should stop saying that, the ion beam types, yeah, that, ooh, interesting, okay, turned by 45 degrees, okay, seems to have a medium reactor core, good amount of shielding and things, okay, let's target that, then target that, actually let's target, knock out the electrobolts first because they are actually the biggest threat. Then just swat its power core. Thank you. Oh, that corner just evaporated. I think the railguns have a decent amount of power. It's just, yeah, look, the electrobolts are actually coring through into the main ship itself. Oh dear. Stop that. Those electrobolts. I don't have the armor to withstand an electrobolt barrage like this. And I am about to get ambushed too. That is actually less than ideal, so I would like to get out of here now. If you wouldn't mind. I'm getting ion lasered in the side. Oh dear. What are you? You're a slicer. All I can do is turn around and knock you out. Yeah, this is... Dead zone! Okay, sure. Yeah, that's one of the drawbacks of this design. It's like, as soon as the second one dropped in, I knew I was probably going to get killed, but, yeah. This ship is not built to deal with other things. It's not like the missile barrages that actual professional players use. Don't worry, I'll explain these cryptic comments about the professionals in short order. Anyway, moving on. So yeah, the thing that I picked up that Lollard apparently forgot about was when I tried to use triangle armor in this to narrow the aperture, and then the railgun was hitting it, and it wasn't working properly. Though someone did say something about that being because of a bug, and it was because it was right next to the grids that were supporting the area. So that might be why. So let's delete that, then delete that. And we'll test fire and see if that's actually the case. Oh, wait, we need to do the crew again. Oh. Oh. That's it, though. This thing is fine without damaging itself, though. So there's that. If I install the structure behind it... Oh, splat. Immediately. Okay. Yep, so that seems to be actually borne out. So thank you, whoever said that. I will get to your comments soon, so I will know exactly who said that. Let's try that. How's that? And that did the same. Okay. So yeah, it's just the fact that it was right next to it. But that does mean I can actually narrow those apertures slightly with extra armor plating. Actually, I don't know why I'm not using mirror mode. Mirror mode. Extra armor. Because, yes. And apparently just crossing that grid is actually enough. Okay, that actually causes a problem. Because if it's a case of passing one and then passing the other, then that means I don't actually have a way to mount the armor in the nose cone. Oh, no, okay, so it can pass by the armor plating, it just can't pass by one of these grids first. Interesting. Slightly unfortunate, but yes, interesting. Okay. Well, I guess it's extra armor. If the railguns were recessed a bit further back, that would actually work okay. I'll have to bear that in mind for future use, but okay. You can stop that. Stop that. Thank you. Right. There was actually something about that in the previous previous comments as well, I think. Which was something about setting the railgun to a weapon group, then they only fire when facing the thing you're aiming at. My only problem with that is that I'm not actually directly steering my ship, so I'm not actually swinging it back and forth. That's only naturally happening because it can't turn fast enough. So I'm being a very lazy hands-off commander, and I'm not trying to deliberately steer my ship, if that makes any sense. So yeah, that's just me. Anyway, go ahead and do your thing, please, Mr. Shippy. I am confident in your abilities that you can do this without any further assistance. Oh wait, you're different. No wait, no you're not. I just have a bad memory. Okay. Nah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Okay, moving on, because I got thoroughly distracted quite there. There was a second comment from Lollard actually, which is, and yes, you don't want so much energy storage, but reactors instance in the engines likely. Which I think is alluding to what I was saying before. Is like this power storage actually gets depleted quite often whenever a lot of the engines are running. So I think that is a fair point. And I was actually thinking about it towards the end of last time, that maybe a reactor back here would actually do a better job. So let's make that so. That way it's not dependent on energy being lugged back and forth, and that reactor can try to supply these engine rooms a bit better. Exactly how well that's going to work out remains to be seen, but hey-ho. I think I'd really need to implement secondary or tertiary weapon systems pretty soon. I did have a fun idea for that, but I've tested it and it didn't seem to work out too well. And I was thinking ion relay ships. They're interesting, but they require micromanagement to even remain operational, so it's not the best. Anyway, moving on. Happy Hafer! You commented saying, I was not aware that the large NG cores produce triple NG packs. Thank you for telling me. You're most welcome. I was actually quite glad to notice that myself when I came across it in the patch notes. And that's the only reason I knew as well, because I saw it in the patch notes. When we get out of this fight, I think I will... Yeah, I really, really wish I had a centre line. But I do have the extra armour in it at least, so there is that. There we go, right. What I was thinking of... I keep getting distracted. If I look at this... yeah, there it is. Battery size 3. Battery charge time 1. Battery charge time 0.5. So I noticed they do take... There is actually a time penalty while they pick up the batteries from the bigger reactors, but they do have the multiplier on capacity. Also of note is when you hold Alt for extra stats, you can actually see cruise speeds and things. So while I was watching my ship a little bit at the end after last time, I've noticed that people seem to be slowing down in that, and it says cruise speed 50% when they're inside the reactor room. So there is that. Someone said something about the ammo factory needing to be separated to allow the thing to be going through because it was just slowing people down. Let's double check this. In a storage room, it's 50%. Ammo facts, 50%. So yeah, both of those are actually slowing people down getting into the central resupply corridor. Worth noting. And then there's actually a surprising statistic because remember how I was saying people going across these things is really bad? Turns out it's actually not. It just looks bad compared to the speed they're actually doing on these things. So if we call up walking move way, they double speed going the right direction. If they go across, it's actually 75%, which is better than most rooms, in fact. And if they try to go the wrong way completely, then it's 25%, which is why you want to avoid that flat out. I think that's literally the worst statistic you can get. But yeah, 75% across. And if we send people on spacewalk, it's 30%, which is awful. It's the second worst, I think. But you want to avoid sending people out on spacewalks if you can avoid it, because that is really bad for their speed. But yeah, getting across these things is actually not so bad. Still not as good as having an empty crew space, because an empty crew space is rated at 100%, but hey, there you go. Anyway, moving on. I think implementing a secondary weapon would probably be good. Though what killed me there was actually shots coming in from behind me in this area. So they actually hit my reactor core directly with those attacks and my engine block. Because these areas, because of funding, were unprotected completely. So there is some reshuffling needed. Now moving on. About turning strafing issues, you could try to shoot. I'm trying to shoot enemies head on, and you use a weapon where the thighness. What? The thighness of the enemy armor doesn't make much of a difference, so turning should be more important than strafing. This is true, but I've noticed, as I do some reconfiguring, which will make sense in a little bit, as I grab these huge thrusters and move them, I've noticed that if you can strafe harder in this game, then it actually does mitigate the need for turning somewhat. Because part of that turning gets overtaken just by strafing. So it helps your ship lock itself into position more easily. Look at that, a nice bank of medium thrusters, standard thrusters. More engine power. Oh yes. Don't worry, I'll mention why in a moment. But yeah, that is a thing that needs to be taken into account. It's like if you can strafe, then you don't need to quite turn as much because your ship can more easily stay directly in front. And that's why I've got the big central thrusters there. I'll just add a couple of little bits there. So that's a bucket load of extra thrusters. And I think I'll be cheeky and just bolt a couple onto there as well. And then, of course, I'll also add some armor. This is in response to someone else's comment, actually, and that's why I said I'll explain why I'm doing this in a moment. But I seem to be getting distracted by actually doing the stuff and not picking up on the comments, so that's why I'm being a bit slow, so sorry about that. I swear it's not deliberate, it's not because your comment has any less value, it's just that I am getting very distracted at the moment. Because armor plating. We got killed because of the lack of armor plating on the ship. So I'm actually just like buttoning the ship up a little bit before I get started. And this is also something I noticed on professional designs as well. It's like they are generally armored up the wazoo. And they carry a lot of armor. And they also do things like they have armor extensions available around weapon systems that aren't dependent on firing arcs and stuff like that. So a lot of armor to outside to protect things. They even have things like an armor layer outside their thrust zones just to help protect things and absorb initial impact. So the thrusters work. So they try to internalize all of their thrusters on practically every design I saw in that tournament. My ship is definitely not there yet because the tournament was actually with 1.5 million value craft. This is only like 580,000 at the moment. Though there was a railboat in that. That was special, but even that used external armor plating. Oh, that's the point. Those other engines don't actually get, do they? They don't get from the power room, so I'm actually going to install a corner thruster instead. Because reasons. There we go. All fed by the thing. Though, of course, no protection towards that area. Right, done that. Moving on. We're still on Happy Hafer's comment. Yes. Happy Hafer, we will continue. And with a ship like that, getting out of enemy firing arc is not really necessary since either you are pretty thin, since you are a pretty thin shaped ship. This is true. This is one of the reasons I love this ship design. It's very, very thin. Though that actually makes turning important, and as you saw, if I get flanked by multiple ships, this is actually a pretty serious issue if I can't turn effectively. Mainly because my weaponry is forward-facing, if I'm honest. I'll be fixing that soon enough. While on topic of ship shape, currently the grand shaft looks more like a grand fork. That is fair. Looks more like a scepter than a staff, if I'm going to be honest. Ah, yes, it's the one I had trouble with because it's... I see why. It's because it's trying to maintain a closer distance and I was happy to let it. Luckily, though, my initial shots have actually killed some of the electro bolts, so... Yeah, it's actually trying to ton through some of my armor plating. Just kill it. And, oh look, no one's actually operating the railgun, so that's why it's not working properly. Oh dear. That thing causes an unacceptable amount of damage, and as we already know, I can't actually run away from it very well. Come on, get closer to it. Oh yes, finally! Caught it out with the railgun shot. Excellent. But, yeah. That was actually really bad. That ship design seems to be a bit of a hard counter towards mine, if I'm honest. I mean, look at the sheer damage. Though the fact was my railguns were actually only partially operational, so I do need that gunnery crew, but still 23,700 fixing. Ouch. The boys in blue, the gunnery crew, I will bring you back into the fold. Because you are needed, definitely. And I'm actually going to tell you to operate the railguns too, because that's actually pretty darn important. Is there a button here? No. Okay, moving on. Don't supply that, supply that. Railgun module, operate and supply. So if there's any kind of shortage, or someone wanders off the railguns, you get on them and get them firing, because you are the gunnery crew. The gunnery crew, they come to save the day. That sounds like they should have capes or something. Yeah, probably, why not? Okay, right, moving on. Right, a little suggestion for the... and question for the walkways for the end. First, the walkway to the engines. There is no need to switch the hallway by the crew quarters. Since they only enter and leave rarely. Fair point, especially since what we just found out earlier about actual crew speeds. You guys are going to be gunnery crew. I'm actually going to bolt in a new crew room too while I'm at it. Let's do that. Just some extra crew in general. Move that door, thank you, make it so. So, your gunnery crew, 6 of them. Though 4 of them are immediately done like that, so I'm actually going to tell it to... I'm actually going to tell these guys to be... Wait. I want to tell you guys to be... Why can't I tell you guys? Am I just being blind? No, yeah, because I had to have roster mode up. Sometimes my brain slips on the silliest things, honestly. Huh. Also, I'm thinking of maybe putting in like a passageway behind here, just so that they've got a higher speed option for getting to and fro. I know that this will make fire a bit harder to contain, but it does provide quicker access to the ammo storage and things, so that's okay. After all, they're the ones that will be trying to do it when everyone else is distracted. Just get you two off there, and then call two from there. So there's 4 on each side to help supply. Right, that should be good. Moving on. So yep. Little suggestion: walkways on the end. Engines, no need to do that. Right. You have to switch to normal hallways. Do I have to switch to normal hallways for corners? Wouldn't it be fine if you just let them walk onto the different direction walkways? Actually, yes, it would. Fair point, and I did check this. If someone's coming off the right direction of one of these walkways, I have actually noticed that they retain their speed until they get into the middle of the next tile, and then they change to whatever that tile's speed rating is. So if it's just a corner like this, it's actually better to have it fully worked in like that, and that is faster. And honestly, I think I'm going to lay this in a bit faster up there as well. I'm actually going to provide direct access to the walkways from the battery rooms, just for easier access for the resupply crews. Things like that. So that should help a little bit as well. In terms of general accessibility, that corner should operate a little bit faster for the crew going through it. That reactor hopefully is going to be helping with that. Okay, right. Walking in the different direction walkways. Would that be slowed down or until they reach the tile corner? Yeah, just as quick as we discussed earlier. It's like it's only if they're crossing that they change. But notice they are actually going like zip, zip, because they're actually going in the right direction when they start moving on that tile, so that gives you a full speed boost. And wow, I've actually managed to get through most of the episode without doing much. Come on, Shippy, go murder stuff, thank you. I didn't even get around to doing major building. Clint, you said, great video, I like to use one rail in the middle and then 2 off the shaft. The one in the middle, 3 longer, works great with scaffolding, and you are able to power shields with a power bank and 2 crew sets to power them. Just do base walks, keep all safe, and great firepower. Keep it up. Yeah, honestly, part of me really wants to do that, because, as I said, I'm honestly missing having... Oh, that was considerably easier than the other one. I'm honestly missing having... Oh, it damaged the thing. I'm missing having a centerline one, just because the ship points at the block it's targeting by default. So that means the railguns are actually pointing either side of the block I'm targeting. So more general firepower, having 2, but they are not quite as accurate. So it's a quantity over quality situation, I think, with the basic railgun. Ooh, I saw you flicker with no power. Having a reactor seems to be mostly doing it. It is actually trying to do enough, though. It seems like it runs dry whenever I'm actually moving around much. Oh, someone with missiles. That's another thing with strafe. It lets you kill your momentum really quickly when you change in direction. So that's another good reason to have strafe drives installed. Boy. Right. Next comment. One Eye. Who says, don't feel like you have to read this entire comment next episode. XD. I guess that's it for the comment. Yes. No. I don't read because I feel like I have to, because, well, actually, shortage on time, I do feel like I have to. Well, you know what I mean. It's just that I like to share the comments because then it's like everyone's on the same page for people that don't read the comments, that kind of thing. And I'm actually at the half-hour point pretty much now, so I guess we're going for another 40 minutes. Let's see. It says balance changes with EMP missiles, not to electro bolts. Okay. Not much as I could say about that one. I thought it was electro bolts were affected. It did say electro bolts in the patch notes, so at least I'm pretty sure it did. Maybe I just misread it. I don't know. Let's see. There is currently a bug with railguns at 2432. It can be fixed by not having the structure pieces right next to small armor triangles. This is why I was mucking with the armor actually up here. This was actually One Eye's comment that led me to adjust that section. It was just experimenting that let me find out that having the structure has to be ahead of the armor pieces, because if I put it before the armor pieces, it was still damaging the armor. Which is weird, but yeah, that it does seem like a bit of a bug. Anyway, we've got that killed out. Let's actually go and murder some more peoples, because we do need... We need to get ourselves our daily quota of murder in, don't we? Yes. Let's see. Having them close to 23, 20, 50, 35. Close to the reactor, better idea. Just having a few large stray thrusters connected to the engine. Yeah, this is the origin of why I mucked around with the engines. Here we go. A few large stray thrusters connected to the engine rooms would have been enough for turning. Even with engine rots being the centre of mass, the main reason why having them far away is worse is because you need power storage, which you used, and more crew to keep thrusters operating. Within 20 or so squares of conveyors away from a large reactor, you get away with not using power storage relays. Keep thrusters applied, as long as you have direct walkway access. Also, huge thrusters are great for providing cost efficient, but have a very long ramp-up time. There's the... Oh, there's two contacts there, and two contacts there. There's the key bit, though, which is why I mucked around a bit with the thruster settings. The bigger the thruster, it has a ramp-up time, which makes the big thrusters actually less efficient for turning. I'm also kind of curious why these thrusters aren't firing in unison for turning. I think it's because of thruster imbalance or something like that. I miss having a centerline weapon. Then again, his centerline weapon just got annihilated. But yeah, notice all the side thrusters are actually firing to keep me in position, so while he tries to strafe and move around me, I'm strafing to try and move around him, so it is reducing the need for turning thrusters a bit. Though he is actually still out turning me because his ship is now lighter. But now his ship is dead. Haha, take that. Right, last bit of this comment. 3450. If you didn't know you could set your railguns to hold fire, I knew this was in there somewhere, I'd just forgotten where. Right. If you didn't know, you can set your railguns to hold fire by selecting them and clicking the Foreign Options button. Dawa? Oh, was this it? Foreign Options button. Setting them to Control Group is also a good idea. This will make them only fire at a targeted part when they are directly lined up with it. This means you can set a reactor as a target, rotate or fan your ship back and forth, and the railguns will all fire directly at the reactor. I don't know how to assume direct control. I think that's the thing, but I don't know how to do that. No, I don't know how to do that. Right. So I honestly that leads to a glaring bit of lack of knowledge on my part, because I literally don't know how to fan my ship back and forth, short of doing like the R click thing, which seems a bit contrived, and it's honestly like I try not to micromanage my ship that much, so I'm not sure what to do about that one, honestly. Oh, it's a big electro bolter. Yep, dead sir. It burned out a couple of shields, but no damage really, apart from a little bit of armor. Right. Okay, he also has other comments. This is why when I was saying don't feel you have to read the entire comment, but this is good stuff. And it's highlighting gaps in my knowledge, and it contained hints which I acted upon during the rest of the episode as well. So that's why it's good stuff and why I try to do this. Other comments. Your ammo factories, while they do have a adjacency bonus, are blocking the central walkway. Yeah, this is why I was checking that earlier, about how quickly they can move stuff. I think these ships are actually in pairs of lighter ships or something like that. But that guy's actually moving further away. That's fine. At least my ship does have armor, so it can withstand... Okay, just shoot that guy, because that guy's actually... Oh. Okay, sure. Yeah, against smaller opponents, the railguns are just committing atrocities of varying degrees against them. Right, so yeah, that's why I was looking at the that thing. But I think I'm actually not too bad with that overall. I'm just wondering about the rate of ammo generation. I mean, right now we're at 4 out of suggested 3, so it's actually higher than optimum. So we've got a bit of extra. If I separate the manufactories, it still counts as 4 out of 3. So actually, that it doesn't care about that, does it? Well, I liked having the extra production capacity, but apparently I didn't need it. The more you know. But there we go. I'll provide just general access. There's a lot of doors, so fire can spread easily in this area. But central walkway is cleared for battery routes and for people hauling ammo. Though, honestly, people weren't hauling ammo from these. They were just hauling power straight through it. That was the main obstruction. So, I don't know. But now they've got some direct access into the ammo storage without going through a separate room or something first. So there is that, I suppose. So, yeah. Slight improvement there at a cost of a slight reduction in actual ammo production overall, but we have enough ammo production. Moving on. The last thing he said is, you forgot to rehire your crew when you were over budget. Yeah, true. True that. Ooh, missiles. Just shoot the crucible. Sure, vaporize the entire side of his ship. That's going to help his maneuvering. Oh. Oh. The PDs actually use a lot of power, don't they? I'm going to need to reach... Oh, I forgot about him. Right. Yeah, okay, so PDs actually burn power really fast. I need to get some crew dedicated to that, just to make sure. But, yeah, so, yeah, my missile defenses do need boosting and upgrading and stuff. Right. Now it says, all things considered, your ship is coming on very nicely. You have an almost perfect understanding of the logistics and armor/shield placement on railgun designs! Exclamation mark! You were also right to use a large reactor, since it will allow you to expand quite a bit without having to spend any more on reactors. Also, as you said, it drastically increases the efficiency of your crew. Yes, yes, feed my ego more. Yes. In all seriousness, thank you very much. It's very nice to hear. Oh, thank you very much for that, Clint. And I guess because we're actually now at the 40-minute mark, I'm going to round up with an explanation and a secret comment, because there was actually another comment from One Eye which actually appeared in the main discussion on the Discord. So again, thank you for that. But here we go. One Eye said, Titan Mark 3, I commented on your newest Cosmoteer video. So far, an amazing ship. The things like your use of power storage relays and the structure to hold armor over the central ceiling are things I'd only expect to see from competitive players. You're definitely picking up more than, quote-unquote, ground rules. Smiley face. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. I do greatly appreciate that. Thank you. And lastly, the explanation is why I was commenting on professional designs. And that's because One Eye also linked me to the official professional tournament for this last month. So I got to see a bunch of professional, completely refined 1.5 million designs going at it, and I got to see what guys who've stuck with this game constantly for years have decided to settle on in terms of competitive play builds and stuff like that. And there's some interesting bits and pieces in there, like the missile barge, like the flankers, like the ion beam shotgun style things. Yeah, but super specialized kind of ships, honestly. And it was interesting to see. So yes, thank you for that. It's given me maybe a couple of ideas, but I think my ship is not going to go in a super specialized direction, you know? Because there are many situations I saw in that tournament where a specialized ship, yes, was great, but I think it would have fared a little bit better if it had a few supporting weapons rather than being all or nothing. So I think that's not quite what I prefer to go with my builds. But with that said, yep, sorry about the death and me not actually getting very far developing the ship overall. We have improved our turning and stuff like that a bit. We have definitely improved our survivability a bit with extra armoring, but we've not made any significant developments. As I said, I was thinking of doing some ionic relays to bounce out and attack enemies from unexpected directions, but I did test that in creative mode and it's not all that viable, honestly. But yeah, this has been IMF. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and I'll catch you all some other time. Yes, indeed. This ship will live on. It didn't blow up earlier. You were imagining things. Definitely. See you all later.